Hey guys, in this session let us learn about simple one-liner shell script to solve problems. It is not always mandatory to use a set of commands inside a .sh file and give permissions to that file and execute the script. You can also use this one-liner command line script to directly take care of the problems. There is a command called find. Okay. In Linux, this command is very useful to find all the files or directories in your file system. You can also identify all the files from the root mount point as well. Okay. In Oracle database, there are different types of files, right? There are trace files, there are archeolog files, then core dumps, incident trace files. Likewise, you have a lot of files which keep on getting generated on your mount point and they fill up the space. So it is very problematic for the DBA to clear all these files, and they should also make sure that important or the recent trace files are not cleared. Right, all these trace files are very important for diagnostic purpose, right? So if there is a performance issue or if there is any corruptions or internal errors, obviously these trace files are required for troubleshooting. So the DBA should be very cautious in maintaining these trace files, and they should clean up all the old trace files. Okay, so either 1 month ago, if there are multiple trace files available in your trace file location, then those trace files can be cleared. Or you can also take a backup of these trace files and clear it. Right. Also, archeolog files cannot be directly removed from the FRA. Right. So these archeolog files can be taken care using Orman tool. Right, so archeolog files are exception. Okay, you cannot directly remove it from the file system unless until you have backup of these archeolog files. Okay, and core dumps also can be removed, and incident dumps also can be removed. Right, now let us see some practical examples on how to print all the trace files in a particular directory. Just say locate alert underscore your database name. This is my dir location. Okay. Now what I will be doing is I will just see how many trace files are located in this particular directory. There are almost 15,481 trace files situated, which is too high, right? So I need to take care of this trace file directory and clear up all the trace files. Let me check the last 10 trace files. So you can see on March 14 you have a couple of trace files. So what I will do is I will just use grep March 14 and wc-n. There are almost 879 trace files generated on March 14. Okay, now let me check for March 13. There are 0, and March 12 there are 0, and March 11 there are 150 trace files. Okay, so what I will be doing is I will just retain only the trace files of March 14, right? or I'll just retain only the trace files of March month and remove all the rest of the files. Okay, if I use grep -v March 14, then all the remaining trace files will be printed. So there are almost 14,604 trace files except March 14. So I'll just filter out with March month. Okay, I have used -v to make an exception. So except March month, all the other month trace files will be printed. Okay, so how I used grep in this command. If you say grep -v March, so first I list all the files. So if I list all the files, this output will be printed. Now I have used grep, right? If I use grep March, then all the trace files related to March will be printed. So this is the filter. Okay, I'm just seeing this filter to filter out all the trace files of March. If I use -v, as we had already learned, to negate the value, so this means that whichever files which are there related to MAR, all these files will be excluded, and except these files which are having MAR, all the other files will be printed, right? So now if you see, almost there are 14,454 trace files except March. So I need to clear all these files to clean up the space. Okay, if you want to check the size of this directory, you can just use du-csh. So it almost occupies 342 MB, right? Now let me use find command. Okay, find and provide the directory where you need to find all those trace files, and provide the name. Okay, so if I need all the trace files which are ending with .trc, I will just use star.trc inside quotes. Okay, now let me use print. Okay, also you need to specify the type of the file. Okay, whether this is a directory or this is a file. So if it is a directory, you need to specify D as type, and if it is a file, then you need to specify F, and -print to print all the files in this directory. Okay, which is having .trc as prefix, or you can say it is suffix. Okay, now it printed all the files from this directory. Okay, so there is no filter. Now I need to print only the files before last 3 days, or before last 5 days, or let me use 7 days. Okay, so now you can also use wc-l. So before 7 days, there are almost 8,051 trace files which are available. So these trace files need to be cleared, right? So here I have used mtime. Mtime means this will show the previous time, or you can say from today if you just go back to last 7 days, okay, and before this 7 days, what are all the trace files which are there will be printed. Okay, say for example, if Sunday is the starting day and today is Sunday, from this Sunday to this previous Sunday, all these trace files will be retained, and before this Sunday, what are all the trace files which were there will be printed, right? So this +7 will retain last 7 days trace file to be simple, and remove all the trace files before last 7 days. Okay, there is another parameter called exec. Okay, this parameter can be used to execute any command based on the conditions. Now let me list all the files with -exec. So this ls-lrt is used to list all the files, right? And this flower bracket is used to provide the argument. Okay, so this means all these trace files will be substituted over here, or you can say all these trace files. Okay, and you have to specify backslash and a semicolon. So this is the syntax whenever you use exe for whatever command that you use. Okay, now let me print all the files with ls-lrt using find. Okay, now let me use Control Z to cancel this. So you can see before March, you can see there are files on January 10th, lot of files on October 6th, right? So we can verify using this command whether the trace files are related to March or before March. We can use this command to verify. Okay, now I can remove all these trace files. So instead of ls-lrt, I will just use rm-rf to remove all the files. So these symbols are constant. You don't need to change these symbols. Only you need to change the command. Okay, so whenever you use -exec, just specify these symbols and commands will be different. Now let me remove these trace files using rm-rf. Since I have used -print, it is printing all the files. So let me remove this -print. Now all the trace files before March are removed. Let me use the same ls-lrt command. So you can see there are only 524 trace files which are there. Okay, so let me check what are all the trace files. So I think the database is not updated, let me use grep -v mar wc-l. So as you can see, all the trace files were removed, but all the TRM files are still existing. So that is why you can see some of the files available. So let me remove all the TRM files as well. Here I have to use rm-rf and I have to remove the print. Now you can see there is only one file which is available. So that is also not a file. Okay, since I have used wc-l, so it has counted this output, this total output. Okay, now we have cleared all the trace files before March using this mtime and exe. So always remember that mtime will be used very frequently when you clear all the trace files. Okay, don't confuse. So here I have used +7, right? If you are using +3, then all the trace files before last 3 days will be removed. Okay, and all the last 3 days trace files will be retained. So this is the meaning of it. If it is +7, all the trace files for the last 7 days will be retained, and all the trace files before last 7 days will be removed. Okay, and this is also important, -exe. Always be careful when you use this rm-rf command. Okay, before you are using this rm-rf command, just print all the trace files and verify whether all those trace files are valid. Okay, whether all those trace files are before March. Otherwise you will mistakenly remove the trace files which are related to March as well. Okay, so this should be always taken care before you use it. Okay, so these are all the one-liner commands that can be used to clear the trace files. Okay.